Blame it on the sun and the unseasonal 20-degree temperatures if you want, but I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic. And I want to talk about those two main reasons why I feel optimistic. I want to know whether you see the same as me and whether you feel reasons for optimism. Now, as I've made clear on many occasions, I don't do false optimism. I don't do positivity based on nothing. I will comment on things as I see them, which means if you hear an optimistic message from me, it's based on something tangible, based on something real. And today's that day. So join me as I explain to you why I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic. If you do like my content, you want to hear more from me, please do subscribe to The Imperfect Individual and share my videos with anyone who you think may benefit. So, to start on a slightly negative note, maybe many of you would agree with my summary. If you don't agree, tell me. That society generally is quite sick at the moment, very sick, and is not in a good place. I think there are a number of ways that you can tell how ill a society is. One would be how it treats its children and its old people. I've talked a lot about that. Another would be the amount of crime that a country is experiencing. Another definitely is the amount of litter that you see strewn around. And this is something since the first lockdown started this time last year, I have noticed an ungodly amount of litter in the countryside near to where I live. I don't know what people are doing. Well, clearly the fly tipping, but cartons of KFC and McDonald's and fizzy drinks cans and cans of beer just lying, in the middle of fields on country roads. Are people chucking them out of cars? I don't know, but there's a lot of litter. But on the flip side, and everything has a flip side, on the flip side, I've never seen so many people going around picking up litter. And in my local area, there's kind of like a mini movement has sprung up of local people going around picking up other lazy people's litter, which is great. In fact, I've been handed a card by somebody working for the organisation. I'm hoping to get involved myself. I haven't yet, so I don't know what that says about me, but I will do. Anyway, what I'm saying is that there is a point number one of why I feel more optimistic. There quite clearly is a rebellion taking place. In fact, let's not call it a rebellion. Let's call it an alternative movement, a more positive type of movement that is starting to form, and it's becoming more and more and more organised. And the litter picking is just one aspect of this. I also see, and I have commented on it on previous videos, I see tangible and clear evidence now of people wanting to reconnect with each other and with nature. And I would suggest in doing that, reconnect with their spiritual selves as well. I can feel a spiritual awakening amongst only a subsection of the population. Whilst I can also feel a fear, I don't think it's as much as it was. And I can feel and see a kind of like a spiritual awakening. It's almost an appetite to return to bygone days, to more innocent times. I remember when I was a kid, and it was great. They were. I mean, I'm 39 now, so I'm only talking about 30 years ago. They were more simple times, obviously pre-internet, and they were great times. And when I see the parks full of kids playing, when I see young mums pushing children around in pushchairs, chatting to each other, when I see neighbours out gardening, talking to each other, all these things, I see kids playing football, all of these different social interactions that are taking place, only amongst a subsection of the population, because let's not forget, there are many completely beholden to government and enslaved and living their lives in fear. Absolutely, and we can't ignore that. But this video is talking about the pushback. I see tangible evidence now Many people as well going out for walks in the country. I mean, I go out every day and I see more and more and more people going out, enjoying the sights and sounds of nature. All of these things that are proof to me that there is something stirring, and it is something positive that is stirring. We're hearing a lot of people at the moment talking about going off grid, living off grid and removing themselves from the system and all this kind of thing. And, you know, I certainly do see, and I would subscribe to the Great Reset theory. I do, because I think it's so obvious and in your face. You know, an unholy alliance of kind of corporatist globalist capitalism allied with communism that is, you know, spreading its evil tentacles around. I think it's clear that it's happening. So if going off grid and creating local hubs and local communities, if that's what the future is going to be, well, if what I'm seeing is early evidence of that, then maybe it's not going to be such a bad thing after all. However, point 2 is maybe that isn't even going to take place anyway. Maybe the Great Reset can be stopped in its tracks. And I'm going to explain why with point 2. Reason number 2 for optimism. If this indeed is an information war, if this goes down in history as World War III, a war of information and propaganda waged on governments or dark forces, whoever they are, on their citizens, on their populations, if this is what we are living in, and I happen to think that yes, it is, then that same information can also be waged against the population, against dark forces. I want to explain why. So, undoubtedly, we live in a time of intense propaganda. Many people have become brainwashed. We've talked about this. Propaganda. And we can see the power of words. Words and images on people. I mean, we can go back to January 2020 and remember the images of the dead people in the streets in China, which was just sowing the seeds for what was to come. Words and images are immensely and incredibly powerful. They hold such sway over all of us. And it's about becoming aware of that fact. And when you add in the way that traditional media has behaved, the BBCs, the Skies and the CNNs of this world, in crafting and staying true to a very, very narrow message, and then add in social media and how social media has also been weaponized to bring about fear, paranoia and division. And then you look at the effect of those, what they are, words, on people's mindset, on their thoughts, on their words and on their behaviours. And we can see that this information has been used as a weapon to control people. It is clear. Add in the mass censorship that has taken place, particularly on social media, but also in the mainstream media as well, to a massive degree. Respected voices, eminent scientists, journalists, and politicians who've deviated even slightly from the main message that the authorities want us to hear. Their voices have been silenced, have been censored. You also look at many YouTube channels, myself included. I've been a victim of the censors as well. However, what's the reason for optimism then? Well, the reason for optimism is there is so much information out there that presents an alternative picture to that which they want us to see. It simply cannot be stopped. This flow of information, of different ideas, different angles. I'm not saying what's true and what's false. I'm not saying what's true and what's a lie. What I am saying is that there has the general information that the public's been allowed to see, it's been very, very narrow. Yet the more curious of us, and there are quite a lot of us and our numbers are growing, have allowed ourselves to be exposed to different angles, have allowed ourselves to be influenced by different voices. And if dark forces, whoever they are, think that they can control us, but via information and information alone. Well, they've succeeded to a degree, but they cannot stop via censorship information flowing that they don't want us to see, flowing and filtering eventually to the masses. It can't be stopped because of the internet. It cannot be stopped. They can try all they want, but they can't stop it. And that's what I'm starting to see now. And the end result of that is more and more and more people questioning as they finally allow themselves to be influenced by the conspiracy theorists, by the people who've been able to think of their own thoughts all along. More and more people are now listening to the likes of me, to the likes of you, and to the many qualified voices in the realms of epidemiology and medicine and science and all these areas who've been sounding alarm, who've been wanting to paint a different picture, who've been wanting to discuss the overall situation through a different lens, which obviously needs to happen. Well, they can try all they want to censor, but they can't censor everything. That information is starting to reach people, and it is starting to change minds. Now, once those minds are changed and people may come to the conclusion that they were lied to, what effect is that going to have on society? I don't know. What I'm saying, though, the reason for optimism is, number one, because of probably the suffering that people have been through in the last year, they are returning to something that is more the essence of existence, which is, and the essence of being human, what is it? It's to connect with other people. That's happening. And number two, people are opening their minds and they're allowing themselves to be influenced by information that they otherwise weren't allowing themselves to be influenced by, information that they cannot stop reaching the population. They are two massive reasons for optimism as far as I am concerned, and that's where we are right now. So please, if you're feeling a little bit pessimistic, if you're feeling like you're just fed up, I hope that this message today has cheered you up a little bit. Like I say, it's not just based on flimsy visions of everything's going to get better, because I don't do that. I will only put out a positive video when I feel and when I see something I can get my teeth into and I think, yes, absolutely, there are clear reasons right now for us to feel a bit more optimistic about things taking a more positive turn. So I hope it makes you feel a little bit better. Please let me know if you agree or not, and what you see, whether you see any more reasons for us to feel a bit more positive going forward. Please let me know in the comments. And that's today's video, and I'll speak to you soon. All right, bye-bye.